And let me give you guys a little bit of music so we have just a little bit to move to. Awesome. And then you can go ahead and take your arms down along your sides and just find a simple mountain pose. And you can start to turn your palms forward. Spread your fingers nice and wide and see if your shoulders can drop a little bit further away from your ears. But if it helps to think about your shoulder blades, rather, the bottom tips of your shoulder blades drawing down, by all means, feel that or notice that visual. Take a big breath in and a long breath out. And then see if you can start to spread your toes really wide apart, creating a little bit more air and space between them as you redistribute them down into the ground. And then just soften your knees 5%. I know that feels a little bit strange. And then start to bring your hands to your rib cage. And I want you to think like cow here. So start to almost round your back, or like take a little bit of a back bend rather. So spread the front ribs apart, maybe even lift the chin. Take a little back bend here. And then almost find the opposite, but start to think about the front ribs drawing towards one another. And then stacking your ribs almost on top of your hips. So if you were to think about your pelvis as a bowl, and then your ribs as another bowl on top of that, how can they align one on top of the other? And then keep that, take a full breath in. Big breath out. And then take your arms down along your sides. Keep all of that the same, palms face forward. So just revisiting your mountain pose. You could like truly take an entire 30 minutes to break this entire pose down. But just keep that awareness of those two bowls, right? Aligning your ribs and your pelvis. Take a full breath in. Long breath out. And then keep that firm connection with your feet. Sweep the arms out and up. Take a deep breath in. You'll rise. Take your right hand to your left wrist and just lean over to the right. See if you can keep pressing down through your left foot. Then you'll rise back up through center. Left hand to your right wrist. Lean over to the left. And then you'll rise back up through center. See if you can find that alignment. Arms down along your sides, palms face forward. So just like a little bit of muscle memory. Take a breath in. Engage the belly just a little bit more as you exhale. Almost think about your hands wrapping around the front of your ribs towards your middle. And then keep all of that. Reach the arms out and up. Big breath in. Now soften your knees even more, or bend your knees, almost like you're sitting in chair pose. Try not to send the front ribs forward, right? Keep that same alignment as you did in mountain pose. Take one more breath in, maybe reach through your fingertips. Now just think about marrying your belly towards your thighs here. Like you'll reach forward, forward, forward. Keep your knees bent even as you fold. And then drop the head. Now, if it feels like a big load in the hamstrings, heel toe your feet a little bit wider, bend your knees a little more, drop the head. Full breath in. Big breath out. And then maybe walk the hands over to the right. You might even bend your left knee a little more. And then walk your hands over through center towards the left. Maybe bend your right knee. Drop the head. And bring your hands back through center. Soften the knees if you forgot. So it's not about how long or locked your knees can be, of course. Keep them nice and soft and find a halfway lift. Bring your hands to your shins. Reach the top of your head forward. Now think your shoulder blades down your back. Take one more inhale, get even longer here. And then you'll just bring your hands down, step back to downward facing dog. Take your time to get there, of course. Take your hands just a little bit wider. And I want you to do the same thing here with your hands as you did with your feet. So spread your fingers wide apart, glue them down towards the ground, even the pads of your fingers. They connect with the ground. Bend your knees a little more. And then even though you're in down dog, can your ribs and your pelvis align? Just notice that. Take one more full round of breath. And then drop your knees down to the ground, tabletop pose. Readjust the hands so they land right underneath your shoulders, maybe a little bit wider if that feels better. And then take a breath in, lift the heart, really splay the front ribs apart as you find cow. And then exhale, press into your hands, round your upper back, drop your head, find cats. And then come back to neutral. Start to drop your forearms down, but let them be about shoulder width distance apart, like the number 11. Keep spreading your fingers really wide here. So we actually call this hasta bandha, hand bind. Hasta is hand in Sanskrit. Bandha is like a bind, right? So think about your hands like really pressing down. And then you can stay here for a moment. I want you to think about the space in between your shoulder blades, like a little dot there, right? Now, as you inhale, I want you to drop that point down, but keep your arms just as they are. So your arms will not change. They will not move. Just sink your chest a little further towards the ground. And then notice how your shoulder blades draw together onto your back. Now, I want you to think of that spot right in between your shoulder blades. Can you press it up towards the sky, but not round? Just press it up towards the sky. Keep pressing down through your hands. Notice how that turns your arms on, turns the shoulders on a little more. And they might fatigue. We're going to do this a few times. So it's just like these scapular push-ups, we call them. Start to drop your chest down. Arms do not move. They don't change at all. And then as you exhale, press your upper back up just a little bit higher. And you might feel the shoulders work a little harder. And then do that 2 more times. Sink the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades, and then keep the arms active as you press the upper back up. Do that 1 more time. Like my shoulders are starting to like feel a little tired. And then keep that just for a moment. Take a full breath in. Press through the pads of your fingertips. Breathe out. Ha, and then come back up to long arms. Ooh, it's like a lot of work. But then it's also like a learning sort of curve, right? So start to take lateral movement side to side. And you just start to create these sort of functional movements, right? That give us a little bit more of muscle memory. Start to walk your hands up your thighs. Give your shoulders a break. Rise up onto your knees. Shrug the shoulders as you breathe in. Open your mouth. Turn your palms forward to feel your collarbones expand as you exhale. Stay here. Take a full breath in. Big exhale. You empty. Sweep the arms out and up. You'll rise. Right hand to your left wrist. Lean over to the right. Like really, really use that as a self-assist here. Like you lean, 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 and then back up through center. And then you switch left hand to right wrist, lean over to the left. And then back up through center. Step your right foot forward, finding a lizard. You'll reach your hands high on the inhale. And then drop your hands down inside your right foot. Wiggle walk it over to the right. We've been working on this a little bit each week. So turn your right toes out to 2 o'clock. Take a breath in to rock your hips forward just slightly. Doesn't even have to be huge here. And then as you exhale, pull your hips back. Maybe pick your right toes up off the ground. Do that again. Inhale, rock back forward, bend through the right knee. Maybe lift the chest. And then exhale, pull it back, pick the right toes up. Now rock back forward, wiggle walk that right foot in and turn your toes straight to 12 o'clock. Start to tuck your back toes, lift your knee up. This is like the higher pathway of lizard. You'll spin that back heel down and then I want you to just rise up to warrior 2. A shape we often find ourselves in, but I want you to reach through your fingertips a lot. And then think about maybe your feet drawing towards one another. It like feels impossible and it might just be this like tiny little bit of movement or engagement that you feel. Think about drawing in towards your middle and then the crown of your head lifts from there. Can you stack ribs on top of your pelvis? Even though it looks a little different here, take a full breath in to stay. Big breath out. Now straighten your legs, reach your arms high, parallel the feet, but bring your hands to your hips. And then heel toe your feet just a little bit closer. Draw your heels in, your toes out. Bend your knees. Hands come to the top of your thighs. Broaden through the collarbones, lift the chest. Stay a full breath in. And then hands come to your heart. Maybe you sink just a little bit lower, but pause. Full inhale. Soften the face. Now straighten the legs, parallel the feet, sweep the arms out and up. And then hands through your heart, wide leg forward fold here. You can soften the knees, of course. Halfway lift, breathe in. Open your mouth. Clear it out, let it go. And then halfway lift, inhale, lengthen. See your right foot. Frame it at the top of your mat into just a low lunge. Now soften your back knee here, just enough. See if you can spread your right toes apart. And then pick your hands up off the mat or off the ground. And then keeping that back knee soft, start to lift the chest and let the hands rise. So coming into a high lunge here. Take a breath in to lift the chest even higher. And then take your arms out like a T. Start to wrap your left arm under the right. Find eagle arms. And then right away, shoulders away from your ears. Start to press through that right foot. Think about the 4 corners of your foot grounding down. And then I want you to stand up and bring your left knee with you. Now, if you want, let it stack on top for full eagle pose. You're not here long. Hug everything in towards that center line. Like we were talking about stacking ribs over pelvis. Find that. Take one more inhale. And then release it all. Stamp your left foot. Arms down along your sides. Palms face forward. Shrug the shoulders as you inhale. Open your mouth. Clear it out. And keep all of that. Sweep the arms out and up. You'll rise. Right hand to your left wrist. Lean over to the right. Press down through the left foot more. Rise up through center. And then left hand to right wrist. Lean over to the left. Press your right foot down. Rise up. Soft bend in the knees. To start to sit back. Chair pose. Breath in to lift the heart. Breath out to stay. And then take one more inhale. Think about hinging at the hips to almost reach forward. Think belly towards your thighs. Then let the head, the arms drop. That can be your fold. Maybe you heel toe the feet a little wider apart. Halfway lift, big breath in. And then exhale, plant your hands down. Just step back to downward facing dog, but let it be a strong down dog. So not just this like passing pose. Can you really let your knees soften? So you can think about your ribs and your pelvis being in line. Maybe that makes the belly engage a little more. Maybe it even turns the shoulders on. Take a breath in, rise up to your toe, and then drop your knees down to the ground. Tabletop pose like before. Lift the chest, find cow. Exhale, press into your hands, round your upper back and drop your head for cats. And then come back to neutral. Drop your forearms down like the number 11. So make sure they're in line with your shoulders. Now, a way that you can start to test that is to take your hands, your middle fingers should be able to touch opposite elbows. So it's almost like you're creating this little box in front of you. Okay. Now keep that, spread the fingers wide, press down through the pads of your fingers, and then just 3 of those scapular push-ups. So sink the chest down, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then really actively press through the hands and lift the back of the heart up. Do that again, 2 more times. Drop it down, don't rush it. See if the back of the chest can lift up and the shoulders can turn on. 1 more like that, sink it down. So you really feel what it just feels like to sink. And then find the engagement of the shoulders by lifting the back of the heart. Now stay here, take a full breath in, breath out. Don't forget that hand bind, that hasta bandha. Press through the hands. Stay. Full breath in. Breath out. You might really feel the shoulders turn on even more. And then release when you're ready. Walk the hands up the thighs. Take a roll of the shoulders. Let it be free here. Maybe a roll of the head and the neck. And then arms down along your sides, flip your palms forward. So notice how that really makes the collarbones expand here and open up rather than the shoulders curl forward, right? So take a full breath in, sweep the arms out and up. Right hand to your left wrist. Last time here to just lean over to the right. And then back up through center. Switch, lean over to the left. Back up through center. And then step your left foot forward into that lunge. Maybe heel toe that foot a little wider to the left. Reach the arms up, take a big breath in first. And let the hands land inside the foot. So maybe turn it out to 10 o'clock, start to sink forward a little. And then pull the hips back and pick the left toes up. Do that again, rock it forward as you inhale. And then exhale, pull it back. Pick the toes up, and then you'll rock forward. And then start to turn your toes to face 12. Maybe heel toe that foot in a little closer towards your center. Tuck the back toes and lift the knee off the ground. Pause here and feel the back leg engage. Feel that left hip almost tug in a little more. And then spin that heel down, the back heel, and then rise up. Warrior 2. Readjust the feet. Arms go long, and can your ribs, think about them stacking slightly over your hips. It won't look the same, but it's the same idea. A full breath in, breath out, and then maybe start to notice where the placement of your feet are and how you can draw energy from the ground up your legs, right? It's like figuratively speaking, but can really turn muscles on when you think of it that different way. Now, straighten the legs, parallel the feet, face the long edge of your mat. Heels in, toes out, bend your knees. Hands can come to your heart. Now, you have the choice to stay. I don't want you to round forward here. I want you to keep lifting the heart. Your heels can stay down, or if you want to play with balance a little, pick the heels up. Maybe it's one heel at a time, maybe it's both. And you will notice right away, you're asking different muscles to turn on and to work a little differently. Pick your poison for 2. Try not to let the chest sink forward. Can it stay open? Last one. And then straighten the legs. Now you get to parallel the feet, sweep the arms high, and then fold forward. Let the head drop, knees soften if you want. Maybe shake the head yes or no. And then halfway lift. See your left foot, frame it at the top of your mat into that low lunge. So your back heel is lifted. But then I want you to soften that back knee at least 5%. I soften it even more. So then you can float the hands and recruit the muscles of the core. Keep pressing down through that front foot, all 4 corners, as you slowly rise and find a higher pathway, that lunge. So notice how it's not this, it's this. Thinking of the ribs and where they are in relationship to the pelvis. I know I'm like a broken record, but it so matters. And then take the arms out like a T. Wrap the right arm under the left. Now press down through that front foot, stand up, bring that right knee with you. And then maybe even let it stack on top, eagle. And it's okay to even bring that right big toe to the ground for support. But think about hugging your inner thighs towards one another. One more full inhale. Full exhale, unravel the leg. Stamp the foot, arms down along your sides, mountain pose. Breathe in, open your mouth. And when you're ready, sweep the arms high just for the inhale. Collect the palms overhead. Soften through the knees, sit back through chair, and then bring your hands to your heart. Full breath in. Maybe sink a little lower. Now, if you want to recruit different muscles, pick the heels up. Just an option, not a requirement. Slowly fold forward. Think hinging at the hips rather than the upper back just rounding right away. Almost let the head be the last thing to fold and drop. Take a halfway lift, breathe in. Plant your hands, step back to that downward facing dog. Full inhale. Drop your knees down. Tabletop pose, lifting the chest, finding cow on the inhale. And then exhale, press through your hands, round your upper back, drop your head. Now here you go. Come back to your neutral. Drop your forearms down for the last time. Think about the number 11. Spread the fingers really wide. Now, one scapular push-up. Just sink the chest down. Now lift the back of the heart up. And I want you to turn the shoulders on. Keep that engagement. Tuck the toes. And then maybe you start to lift the hips up. Finding dolphin pose. Let the head drop. Looking in between your big toes. Now, if you need to bend through the knees, do that, just like you did in down dog. But press into your elbows to feel more strength in the shoulders happening rather than just sinking towards the ground. Take one more breath in right here. And then find child's pose. Knees nice and wide, big toes together. Your hips sink back. And if you want to break in the shoulders, bend the elbows and maybe even take hand over hand right underneath your forehead. A full breath in to fill all the way up. Open your mouth. Clear it out. Breathe in and empty. And then rising up. come to a seat. Just swing your legs out in front of you. And then like we did last time, I want you to bend your knees, your feet plant a little bit wider than your hips. And then grab onto your knees or your shins, lift your chest. Think about higher than that point, higher than your knees. Take a breath in, maybe even lift the chin so the back of the neck is long. Big exhale. Now take the hands behind you for this first round. I want you to lift the chest even higher and let both knees fall over to the right. Like little windshield wipers in the back through center, both knees over to the left. So it doesn't have to be so big here, but now you'll rise up through center. I want you to reach your hands forward. Now keep, without using your hands, you'll start to drop both knees over to the right and then like face the right and bend the elbows wide like goalposts. Now on your inhale, reach both arms up, breathe in, pick both knees up, and then turn them over to the left. So it's like you're creating two little triangles with the legs and bend the elbow. Do that 2 more rounds. Inhale, rise up, knees lift. And then exhale, knees over to the right, bend through the elbows. Rise up. Exhale, knees over, bend the elbows. Last one on your own. Knees through center, they lift up. And then over to the right. Last one. So nice. And then you'll rise up. Now reach your hands forward. Make sure you have enough space behind you. I want you to slowly lower all the way down. Grab a pillow underneath your hips if you need it. Take your arms down along your sides. Now your heels come in line with your hips. Toes point straight forward, even though you can't see them. Spread them wide. And then lift your hips, spine bridge. Now, we often think about how high our hips can go. Rather, I want you to press down through your feet and feel the back of your legs work. Even your glutes, can they turn on a little bit more to protect your low back? Take 1 more breath in. And then slowly release towards the ground. So nice. Heel toe your feet just a little bit wider and knock your knees together. Take a full inhale. Big exhale. Stay here if you want a stretch in the hips. Start to heel toe your feet back to where you started, like before bridge. And then hug your right knee towards your chest. Create a figure 4, cross the ankle, the knee goes wide. And then you can thread your hands through to grab the back of the leg. Finding reclined pigeon pose. Now notice what happens when you just like disengage the feet. Yeah, that might still stretch, but then notice what happens whenever you flex the feet or the ankles here. So there's energy even in the toes, even in what is seemingly a passive shape. Maybe even close the eyes. 1 more breath in. And then slowly let that left foot return to the ground. And then the right foot comes to meet it. Then you switch. Left knee comes in. Find the figure 4, cross. Thread the hands to find the back of the leg. And if that feels like too much tension in the upper body, take 1 hand to your foot, 1 hand to your knee. Just try that on. Make it work for you. Rather than having to work for the pose, right? It's just a little bit of a different mentality so you can land where you need to be rather than where you think you should be. One more big breath in. And then release that right foot to the ground. Left foot comes to meet it. Last time to hug both knees into the chest. This time, maybe even your head, your forehead draws towards your knees to hug everything in. And then let your legs go long. Arms go long. Back of your head lands. Think about the fact that you are in a similar shape to Tadasana, but just supported by the ground. Finding your Shavasana, breathe in. Let the lips part. The breath pours out as you empty. I'm not here too long, but let it be a sense of release. So give yourself permission to rest. Rest the toes, fingers, face. Take a full breath in right here, all the way to the top. Again, open your mouth, a slow exhale. Finding that added ease. And bringing in a little more energy to the fingers and to the toes. Maybe even a rock the head side to side. Bend your knees well to the side of your choice. And press yourself up. Find a seat. And as you sit up nice and tall here, maybe revisiting that visual of your ribs and where they land in relationship to your pelvis. You can bring your hands together in front of your heart if that feels right. Just to pause for a moment and thank yourself. Letting this be a time where you are kinder to yourself. Where you find space in the body, but also a little more strength. Maybe even a little more clarity just for a second in your mind. Take a full breath in. And breathe out. Namaste.